So, hi everyone. I'm Nare Gevorgyan, co-founder and chief design officer at Embry Tech, also Draper University Fall 18 Bachelor. I will be moderating today's panel. Welcome to Online Hero Talks, a remote series of talks and panel discussions that aim to bring international best practices into the entrepreneurial community that has shaped around Hero House and beyond. These online events are designed to address the most common information gaps present in the ecosystem, with topics ranging from expanding to global markets, growth hacking strategies to fundraising, and more. This series is organized and hosted by Hero House. Viva MTS has joined the initiative as a corporate partner and supporter. In the scope of these online Hero Talks, there is a separate line of talks on the value of international startup programs and expansion to global markets, hosting guest speakers from leading accelerators and startup programs. 500 startups and Berkeley Skydeck have already been featured in the series, and if you missed them, you may find the recordings in Hero House YouTube channel. Today, we are happy to feature the Draper University of Heroes. So, with our speaker, Mariam Dieng. So, she's head of partnership and international relations at Draper University. Thanks for joining us today, and welcome.
Thank you for having us.
My apologies, there is an emergency, and Carrott and Mariam couldn't join us today, so we will do great Q&A with Mariam. So, before we start, a quick note to our audience. While we are discussing, feel free to leave your thoughts and questions under the comment section of YouTube or Facebook Live events, and we will get to them in the end. Okay, before we dig deep into the program design and processes, selection criteria, let's first shed some light on why it is called university. Mariam, where does the name come from?
Well, for a lot of it, we actually started Draper University as an attempt to disrupt traditional education. So for where it actually started around 2008 was after kind of one of our US financial recession. We thought that traditional universities were no longer equipped in order to help young entrepreneurs be able to build the companies of the future. So we started Draper University as an attempt to create a space where entrepreneurs could work, they could learn, they could connect with each other, they would get the chance to be mentored while not having the constraint of educational practice as we know them. And so the brand kind of stayed as being Draper University and grew in San Mateo to become its own institution. And today we do think of ourselves as an acceleration program as well as an entrepreneurial education center. So we are basically a space that is open and available for all kinds of people who want to either start a business or scale their businesses up. So we kind of fit in within this range of acceleration, so your traditional model of acceleration. And at the same time, this kind of hybrid model of entrepreneur education with no limitations that traditional schools have in any of their entrepreneurial programs.
Okay, thank you. Could you please give a brief overview of Draper University and expand a bit of the 3 programs you have in place? Fundamentals of Entrepreneurship, Hero Training, and Go. How are they designed? What are the main components, duration? Just a very brief overview for each, please.
So Draper University has, as of now, 3 main programs, but those constantly change. I may have to say that first, because we do consider ourselves a place that is extremely flexible and adaptable. So we adapt ourselves based on situations and based on the world, basically, because we respond to the demands of the world. And so today we have three main programs. The first one being hero training, which is one of our signature programs, I would say. Hero training has always been part of Draper University since its creation. It's a 5-week acceleration program that is strongly focused on working with early stage entrepreneurs who want to be able to get three main pillars, which are mentorship, kind of access to resources when it comes to Silicon Valley, and networking in order for them to be able to scale. We also kind of have the Go program, which is a residential program for entrepreneurs who want to stay in the building, who do not necessarily want to be embedded in a single program, but just want to be able to kind of use the resources around them in order to immerse themselves in the valley. So there's no specific programming for Go. They can basically just stay in the building and use a Hero City environment. And then the last one being the fundamentals of entrepreneurship, which is kind of a power program that we came up with due to the pandemic. So we were trying to figure out how to make education more accessible and affordable. So we came up with this 15 days course that would allow entrepreneurs from all over the world to be able to take this course from their home and basically in 15 days know every single thing they need to know about starting a business.
Okay, thank you. Mariam just joined us, co-founder and CEO at Lucky Carrott and the Fall 2018 Batch alum. So welcome, Mariam. And let's continue. So what are the program acceptance criteria and expectations from the founders, teams? And if there are any specific requirements or expectations from international teams, for example, from Europe or the Middle East, I would like you to mention them as well.
Well, so for when we're looking at accepting a startup, we really are looking at two things, the person and the business. So one, when it comes to the business, it is what is the market opportunity of this business? Will this business be viable in the next coming 10 years? And is there a real need for this business as is it solving a problem? And then when it comes to the person, we're really looking at an entrepreneur who has values, human values, who is able to be persistent, who has a very standardized kind of work ethic, who has the capacity to pull through themselves and their teams through problems, because we know that starting a startup is full of obstacles, right? So it's about picking somebody who we know is going to be able to pull through all kinds of obstacles, which is one of the reasons why we make sure that during the program, we are able to test their limits, both mentally and physically, in order to allow them to see how much they can actually go beyond their limits. And when it comes to international teams, so is your question related to, do we have different criteria depending on where the startups are coming from?
Yeah, is there any specific requirements from international startups and founders?
Well, so the only thing that comes up when it comes to international founders most of the time is simply that kind of US's definition on pre-seed and seed is often different in the US than it is in other markets. So for us, when we talk about pre-seed startups, usually it doesn't necessarily match with what is considered pre-seed startup in certain markets. So often pre-seed startups in the US is actually seed in other markets and vice versa. And so we try to figure out for as much as we can, how can we prepare international founders to be able to understand kind of what the US market standards are, how can they better take advantage of the resources here, and how can they understand kind of the expectation of investors based on the markets that they're from, because investors will judge startups based on the markets that they're from. So when they use the terminology seed or pre-seed, it really is relative to a market. There's no such thing as like a standard seed or pre-seed stage.
Okay, so you were mainly talking about people who already has a company or startup, but I know that individuals who don't have a team or even a startup idea yet can also apply, since at DU you make the investment in people, not startups, right? Could you elaborate a bit on how you manage to make the program effective for both individuals who have the grit and entrepreneurial spirit but don't have a startup yet, and those who come to you having their startup or company in mind?
Well, I like to think of our program as being kind of like a buffet menu, right? So it's a buffet. There are lots of different options. You can come, you can either not eat, you can pick what you eat, or you can eat everything. So the program has a lot of different activities. It has a lot of different a lot of different kind of levels of engagement when it comes to startups. So you can go anywhere from an intensive session about financials with Naeem Zafar to doing BizWorld with Tim. And so the level of these activities are completely different depending on where you are in your business and what you're working on. And the expectation from us, at least, is that all entrepreneurs that come through Draper University are aware that all of the things that we give them are resources for them to use. So they have complete agency on how they take these resources and actually scale them up. So we don't have a special treatment for either kind. And we do try to attempt, especially in our admission process, to figure out how to get the incredible startups that are about to take off, as well as the individuals who don't really have close to an idea yet, but who are just very tenacious, very persistent, and who could become incredible founders. So when we get those two groups of people under the same roof, of course, there are differences in expectations, and there are differences in the kind of experiences that both kind of groups have had, which is why we cater our program to be diverse enough in terms of activities so that everyone can find their fit in it. But also we continuously remind all our entrepreneurs that they are the ones who take advantage of this program. So they have the complete agency to make the best out of it or to not make anything out of it. And that's where we do have a break with accelerators or schools, because we are not putting the pressure on the startups to say that here are the KPIs that we're forcing them to get to. We are saying here are incredible resources. You can use them to scale your business up if you're up for it. And if you're not, maybe you should do something else than starting a business.
Okay, thank you. Mariam, a question for you. In order to graduate, participants had to pass through many challenges, right? What was the hardest challenge for you that you had to overcome?
One of the hardest things is, I think a lot of DU people can agree on that when it's time to prepare your pitch and then start pitching, so you have a mentor there who works with you, right? You have your mentor, you have the people in your group, then you have I don't know, Team Draper, then you have other people that are gonna comment on your pitch deck, and then you're gonna, I don't know who to listen to, because you're gonna listen to some comments that are, I don't know, either complimentary. Sometimes people give some comments on your pitch deck that you can do this, another expert says, don't do this, and so a lot of contradictory stuff can go on. And at the end of the day, you need to understand that it is you deciding what to do, like to just trust your gut feeling. That's one of the, I think that was really one of the challenges that I went through, because I had so much controversy or comments on the pitch deck. It was a real challenge, because you have like 2 or 3 I don't know experts telling you, oh, do this, no, don't do that, again, do this. So you need to kind of trust your guts.
Okay, thank you. For me personally, the biggest challenge was selling condos with the U logo on it, like in the streets of San Mateo, the city where you can find them in every part for free. So as Tim Draper said, if you can sell it, you can sell anything in this world. So I did it, but it took like me whole day, identify and find the place, the right customers, and choose the right wording for selling it. So in every batch, there is some other unusual thing to sell, so be prepared. Mariam, at DU, you have switched to remote format, right? How did you ensure the smooth transition? Do you think the program is equally effective without face-to-face interaction? And what are the benefits and drawbacks of the virtual program? And what are the lessons learned from going online so far?
Well, first of all, I want to say that the virtual program does not replace the physical program. I don't think anything can replace the physical program. There is something very unique. There's something kind of very Draper in being able to meet physically and do the activities and kind of be able to be immersed in this for 5 weeks as intensely as we have done it in the past. So nothing will replace the physical program. And as soon as we are able to do the physical program again, hopefully in September, we will make it a priority to go back to being able to do the physical program too. Now, the virtual program, it's a completely different approach. So the virtual program is not necessarily, so when you guys came to you as students, you can see that during 5 weeks, everything was put in place for you to be able to have both a personal and a business transformation. It was, the whole experience was about you and your growth, and everything from beginning to end was tailored for that. The virtual program is different. The virtual program is more about accessibility. So we're trying to make sure that information and resources are accessible to as many people as possible. So the virtual program allows people to kind of dip in their toes within the resources of entrepreneurship and the Draper ecosystem for 15 days. So basically learn the basics, get connected to some of the pillars of Draper University, have access to some mentorship time, get to actually practice pitching, maybe for the first time, and be able to kind of just get a taste and a feel for what is to come. And for me, the physical program is definitely kind of a continuation of the virtual program. And I think that students who are doing the virtual program should absolutely look into doing the physical one, because it is a much more advanced and an enhanced kind of session. So, but what we have definitely learned from doing the online program is that people can also be immersed and get attached even virtually. So we're doing the virtual program in a very kind of deep way too. So they're put in teams, they go into breakout rooms in their teams, they have to get a team song, a team name, they have to basically kind of work yeah. They have to do team challenges together, they have to get rejected, they have to try to sell something. So we are continuing to uphold some of the DU essence, because that's what we do, and that's what it's important, and that's what we will continue to do. But I will say that those two programs are very different from each other, and they're both very needed. The virtual program is needed for access, really, because entrepreneurial education has to be accessible to people all over the world. And the physical program is really used for growth. It is about investing in yourself and investing in your business in order to be able to grow.
Okay, thank you. Mariam, would you please share with us some of the major benefits of the program for you, all personally as founder and for your company? As you look back, what are the highlights of the program that you cherish the most? Like, what are your top learnings from the program?
Actually, what Marem said, there is a growth, there is a personal growth, and there is a business growth. I don't know, the mindset, etc. Let me just pick some of those, some things, some benefits from these two sectors. For me personally, like really for me personally, when I went back from DU, like in just 5 weeks, happens so much. It happens a lot. I mean, a lot. Just bear with all of that. It's very hard. And when you cannot really have a feedback on the whole DU program exactly after 5 weeks, you just need to go back to your home country, stay for a few days, and then digest everything exactly. Just understand, like, okay, so what happened? Because it's like, you know, Alice in the Wonderland. Everything happens very fast, right? And then you understand, and then you reflect back. And when I did, my takeaway was that I understood that I had more of a personal growth. I really had more of a personal growth. I know we cannot really talk here about that, but my personal growth came from the survival week, which is actually a surprise for a lot of participants. We won't go deep into that, but in the survival week, you also have to be a good team member. And my primary to be a good team member, to communicate better, because those are like a little bit different situations than the business teamwork, let's say. I don't know. or work-related teamwork. So that's one. The second one, regarding the business-related, it is about network. It is about friends, because the friends around you are maybe someone, one of your friends, I don't know, the future Team Draper, I don't know, you will know him or her from your batch, right? So you get a lot of connections. You also need to keep those connections to see who's where, what doing, etc. Network of the people that come as mentors, that come do some trainings. I don't know, some I don't know, whether it be about AI, about blockchain. We got in our batch, we got a lot of, about blockchain. So these are the people that you. So it is the network you need to keep, and you need to keep in touch with your people, with your team members, etc. So those were my main takeaways from the program, I would say.
Okay, thank you. I was attending the training with my co-founder, Sarkis. So the program level up our leadership skills, and it was a great opportunity to present our company Embry in Silicon Valley for the first time. So on top of everything, as an entrepreneur, it is a great honor to shake hands with Tim Draper, have one-on-one conversations, and get his valuable feedback on what we are doing. So Mariam, how do you stay connected with the DU alumni, and how do you nurture community building around the wider family? And what additional benefits are available for DU alumni, if any?
Well, for one thing, once you're part of the DU family, you're forever part of the DU family, right? So that's our number one rule. Both of you are probably in our alumni group, so you get to see that there are a lot of people who came before you. There's still going to be a lot of people who are going to come after you. So you get to kind of be connected to those people and learn about what they're doing. The second thing is that we are kind of constantly thinking about how to continue providing resources to our alumni. Not even that long ago, we held an alumni demo day where we invested in some of the alumni companies, because it's not because they were not ready for investment 6, 9, 12 months ago that they're not ready for investment today. So we try to continue making the DU resources available for them. And community nurturing is hard, right? When your alumni are from 77 different countries with different time zones, it's very difficult. It's hard to satisfy everyone. It's hard to create a platform that is convenient for everyone. But we really do try to do different things like webinars. We have a newsletter. We really do try to set ourselves as the go-to institution that they can come to when they have questions. And also, I think every single one of us at DU as staff, we really do try to connect with alumni. So when I travel, every time I go to a new country, I do an alumni dinner, I do an alumni lunch. I send a message saying, "Hey, any alumni in the region, I'm inviting you for lunch." So I do try to get to know a lot of them and to get to create for them a space where they can feel like they can come to. But also, one thing that I feel very confident about is that because of the Draper experience, every single class tend to be very close to each other. So the people in one class usually tend to create bonds that are very unique because of certain of the experiences they have, including survival. And so these bonds make it that even if we're not doing something to make them meet up, people are organizing class meetups. They're doing class WhatsApp groups. They have kind of class discussions, and they do their own class webinars. So a lot of the DU alum have a lot of agency. So I feel very confident about them also actively trying to keep the family, I would say, together. But also as an institution, we definitely make it a priority.
Thank you. Mariam, are you connected with the DU alumni network? Are you leveraging that network? And if you have any specific cases, please tell us about that.
So how do we keep the connection is that, first of all, from the very first day we had our WhatsApp chat. That's one. Second of all, I'm connected with some of those on LinkedIn. We are connected on LinkedIn. We have the Facebook group, right? Regarding the benefits, we learn it from the mailing list that Marem, that the DU actually sends us. And very recently, actually, we had I was super excited to be part of the All-Star alumni demo day. It went very well. So we learned about it. It was opportunity to see some other alumni. So it was a demo day actually, where the all of the alumni of Draper University could apply, be shortlisted, and then pitch during the All Star Alumni Demo Day. It was very great. Some specific cases. Oh, but yes, of course I can. I just now got in my mind. I don't know. Maybe you can remember, Nare. We in my team exactly. We were lightning, and in my team we
Yeah,
had Moaz from Pakistan. Their company's cloud lead. They help companies to generate leads. Actually, I used their service very recently for like a Carrott. Basically,
great.
so we had that mid, and then I remembered about Moaz, and I'm like, yeah, I have the DU friend, and yeah, I need to talk to him, and yeah, we got the deal together, and if everything goes well, we're going to continue working with them absolutely, because right now I remember who was doing in our, not just in my team, but during the whole batch, who was doing what kind of, who was giving what kind of service that we might need. So yeah, we had to deal with Moaz.
Great. Mariam, how about the next program? The timeline, format, cost, and when can people apply?
The next program is actually going to be September 13th through October 17th, and people can already start applying now. We've received already a lot of applications, so we are definitely trying to continue with the plan of having a physical program. The online program is happening right now. There is an August online program that is going to start August 10th through August 24th. And for anyone who's kind of thinking about better understanding about the Draper ecosystem and seeing if they want to come, I would strongly advise they do the online program. It's really helpful in understanding what it is that we do, and it will give you a much clearer idea, especially if you want to be doing the physical program for sure.
Thank you. And the last question. I know that the school was built because the world needs more heroes.
Yes.
This is such an inspiring mission. Could you please elaborate a little on what's the driving force behind the DU team and all these great initiatives?
So the drive behind it, the first drive behind it, is Tim, for sure. He is somebody who truly believes in the power of doing, and he has a very positive spirit. He really does want to see people do well, and he really does want to offer the opportunity for people to learn and leverage on opportunities. So he's definitely kind of the first drive. The second one I would say is that any single person on the DU team has also a very kind of strong belief that the world could be better. We're very optimistic, very positive team. We're very effective in what we do, but we're very positive in our thinking, and we really do believe that sincerely we can help people achieve something better, and that is really kind of something that drives us every day and drives the way that we do things, the way that we work. Everyone on our team, and we continue to fight for this mission. And every single time we see our students do something amazing, and we see them succeed, and we see them go on and build these companies, we feel extremely proud, that we feel like we are getting a lot of meaning, and we're very lucky to have been able to work with these people. So for us, it's definitely every single time that we have a class, it's an absolute privilege. And that is exactly what gets us through the long nights and the difficult days and the stress, because we know that at the end, all of it has meaning.
Oh yeah, that spirit. So we have like the part of that spirit in Armenia. So now I'm sitting in Hero House in Armenia. So this is like inspired by DUs. So we have superheroes here in the walls. So that spirit is really matters. So We have a question from audience. Armine is asking, what are some of the top companies that went through the DU Hero program? What percentage of companies got funding from DU or Draper Associates?
So in terms of the companies that went through DU Hero training program, we have Quantum, that is now a unicorn in China. We have Envision, that turns out to be now, they just got acquired for, I think it was $165 million. We also have a couple of kind of great startups that are still raising their Series A. So just recently, one of our companies was just raised Piho. They just raised $60 million. It's a VR company. So our alumni definitely kind of involved in so many different areas and receive funding in so many different ways. In terms of percentage, there's no percentage because every single class is different. And so every single opportunity of investment is different. We try to invest in as many companies as we think has potential as possible. So whether it be Draper University Ventures or Draper Associates, we constantly kind of try to invest in companies that we think have meaning. At the same time, I do want to say that once you're in the DU family, you will always be eligible for that investment. So counting per class doesn't make sense because you will always be able to come back 6 months after, a year and a half after. And if you're pitching something that we see has potential, we'll invest in it. So it will be hard to quantify in that way, but there are definitely kind of a lot of different ways to raise funding from us.
Thank you. And Mane asking, thanks for the interesting discussion. What top 3 personal qualities, soft skills would you mention that founders or team should possess to be successful during the program?
Okay. The first one I can definitely think of is persistent. You have to be somebody who's persistent. That means that, and also there's a difference between persistent and stubbornness. Stubbornness is you just, irrespective of input, irrespective of your team's input, irrespective of kind of the ability to think about being able to change things for it to fit your mission, you just are refusing to listen. You just want to go in one direction. Persistency means believing in something very strongly, assessing with objectivity the parameters of what you believe in, and being able to say, okay, I am willing to look at it. I'm willing to improve my product. I'm willing to improve my business. I'm willing to take all of these things into consideration. But I want to continue going with this mission because this is exactly what I believe in, and this is what I think is going to be the future. So persistence is key. The second thing is open-minded in a very kind of learning way. So somebody who is willing to learn. It's really important. As a founder, it's really important to be willing to learn because when you start building your company and you're the founder, for most of it, you start just thinking that, you don't need to learn anything anymore, that you're at the top of your field, you're just, so focused on building your company and you don't need to learn because at this point, it won't make you do anything. And somebody actually, like a couple of days ago, gave me a very good analogy that I thought was brilliant because I make the same mistake in my job sometimes, which is that refusing to learn is just like walking around with a bike on your back and just continuing to walking up a hill with like a bike on your back and not taking the time to take a pause, learn how to ride the bike so that you can go faster. So if you're building a company, of course, in the heat of it and everything that's happening, you just feel like you don't have time to stop and learn. That's not true. You should always be willing to learn and willing to take a pause to be able to learn more so that you can go faster and do better. And then the last thing that is important for a founder is integrity. Integrity is extremely important. And the reason why is because there are so many easy ways to make money. There's so many easy ways to make a living. There's so many easier ways to be able to do what you're doing. And integrity is going to be the only thing that will hold you up when things are going sideways. So your integrity is going to be the only thing that will prevent you getting in shallow deals. It will be the only thing that will prevent you from taking easy money. It will be the only thing that will prevent you from trying to take an easy way out just because you don't want to go the hard way. So integrity is definitely the key element in the difference between somebody who is going to make $1 billion company versus somebody who is going to just have a small, medium company.
Thank you. A question from Astrid. What kind of fellowship, scholarship opportunities do you have for international applicants to apply for the DU Hero training?
So for hero training, there are scholarships available on the website. So once you apply and then you get an interview, the admission team will assess if you need a scholarship. They will assess to what extent they can fulfill that. Also, the other advice that I give sometimes is that most of the time, if you reach out to kind of the local entrepreneurial initiatives in your country, they have often scholarship opportunities, at least to help you pay the flight or to help you cover some of the costs, because they also want to help you promote your business and be able to expand in the American market. So for the most of it, I will suggest applying on the website for sure. But also looking into local resources where they may also have scholarship available for such programs.
Thank you. So Sarkis is asking, if I have an idea but haven't started yet, shall I apply now, or it will be more beneficial if I do some progress then apply?
I think for now, you can always kind of do the fundamentals of entrepreneurship online with your kind of baby idea. Work on it a little bit more. So get the right tools during the online program to work a little bit more on your idea and then apply to do the physical work. Yeah, you probably will benefit a lot more from doing that.
Thank you. And one question that I love, do you have a survival week during the remote program? How you organize it?
No, we don't. We don't have a survival week during the remote program. That's not really something that we can make possible unless we could find a way to force people to sit in front of their computers for 48 hours without eating and sleeping on the floor and
But I think COVID is already survival for everyone. So
yeah, no, so we definitely don't have a way to do it remotely. Maybe in another time, but so far not yet.
okay, and last question from Lily. What do you advise your companies regarding current and post-COVID reality?
Well, we are advising our companies is to not think about the current situation. We are advising them to think about the post-COVID. Because unlike the rest of the world and unlike the media and unlike everyone else who think that this is the most exciting, dramatic party that has happened in a long time, we know and believe that there's going to be an after, and this after is going to be terrible. And the reason why it's going to be terrible is because the economy had slowed down very dramatically. Also, people have basically people have they've had cash being injected in the economy, but that cash is going to stop because that's not how federal money works. And so once there is this post-COVID, we are going to need people to now start coming up with ways that will actually be able to be fruitful and helpful to the population. I think that at the stage as we are in now, and this is the same advice I will give to you guys, which is once there is going to be a vaccine, this will completely change. So, and because we're in 2020 and we have the resources to do so, there will be a vaccine. So this is not a forever situation. We have learned how to live with far worse viruses than this one, and we will learn to live with this one just as well. So it is not going to change a lot of things about this world, and you need to not let anyone make you believe that that's going to happen. today more than ever, if you are an entrepreneur, you are needed. Don't make people make you feel like, oh, this is the time for you to slow down and hide in your room and, potentially look for a career in something that could be useful just because there's no more market for your product. That's not true. There is going to be an after COVID. You are going to be extremely needed. Your ideas, your creativity, your business, you driving the economy, you hiring people, you making money so that the economy can actually flourish is going to be crucial. So today, you are just as needed. And I want all the entrepreneurs out there to continue building their companies, to continue keeping their positive spirit, and to continue focusing on developing their businesses in relationship to their market. Don't think it's not about, so no one's opinion matter as much as your customer's opinion. Those are the people you should be asking. So if they tell you that because of coronavirus or because of what's going to happen after, their behavior might change, you should adapt your product based on what they are saying, not based on what the press says, not based on what the politics says, not based on what I say, and not based on what any other mentor would say. Your customer's opinion is the most important. If your customer tells you that nothing is going to change for them and that they are going to continue doing the same thing and that they need your product just as much as it was, then continue in that direction and do not let your opinion be swayed. That's very important. There's so many people out there who have so much opinion about everything in the world, and if you were to listen to all of it, you would not get anything done. I can guarantee you that.
Thank you so much. What an inspiring answer. Thank you. And let's wrap up. So thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. And thank you, Mariam. And thank you, our audience, for questions and for joining us today. Have a great day. And
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, if you have some more questions, maybe you can also reach out after the webinar if you want. I mean, you can find me on LinkedIn or whatever, or on Facebook. Okay. Happy to catch up with anyone who wants to talk about.
Thank you. And Mariam, how they can reach out to you?
LinkedIn is the best way.
Okay.
Actually, LinkedIn. Do we have somewhere to, I don't know, put the
okay,
link
we
of
will
LinkedIn?
We will share your LinkedIn in the description of the video. So thank you so much.
Bye.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.